Yo, what's good, everybody? Good morning. Um, wow, this seems to be like a weird thing, right? So when I throw my own intro and everything like that, after it's done, the um, the whole thing just like it seems like the connection is weak. Morning, Oscar. What's going on, man? If you're still here, what's going on? I'm gonna try to get through this. Hopefully, the stream is doing okay. Actually, you know what? I'll just open the stream and see how it's doing. So we'll see. We lower the volume though, so it's not like repeating the sound or anything like that. But we'll see if it's like all jaggy or anything. Okay, seems like it's doing okay, even though it's showing me that the connection is absolutely weak. I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing good. Hopefully, you're doing well, also. Just making sure I have everything set before I get into it. So quick synopsis of this morning's podcast. What's up, Coffee? I'm going to be talking about Google Fi and its data calculation. And what I mean is it's how it's calculating data that you're using on your phone, because something seems to be a bit off, but I'll get into that here in a little bit. And then I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on Android 12. Even though my phones haven't updated completely to Android 12, they're still on beta 5. It's pretty much Android 12. Like, it's done. There's not going to be any like dramatic changes to the OS from this point going forward. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. I have some information regarding it that's giving me a different look on it. I don't think I can share that information that I know. But I mean, you guys will get the gist of it when I talk about the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro to that extent. So while I wait for just give it another minute or so for people to get in and be able to watch. And if you can, share it out right now on Twitter and such, so people know that I'm live. Hopefully, but we shall see. Other than that, I mean, yeah, it's Wednesday, so happy hump day. happy hump day, because it's hump day, the middle of the week. We're ever so much closer drawing to the Pixel 6 launch event, which I am thoroughly excited about. And yeah, of course, I'm definitely going to go for the Pixel 6 now that I know a few things about it. That's going to be the idea. So the Pro is out of my reach in two ways. One, what it's going to cost. I don't feel comfortable paying. And two, because of its cost. So it really just boils down to the cost of the Pixel 6 Pro. Why I'm going to opt for the Pixel 6. However, if the sources are correct, I think people are going to be thoroughly shocked on how much the Pixel 6 costs. Because for me, I think that one is the better deal. Anyways, yeah, I gave it about a good amount of time with all the setup and everything and intros and all that stuff. So let's just kind of go into first thing I want to talk about. The main subject of this podcast is Google Fi data calculation. It seems off. And okay, so the reason why I feel like it seems off is because, I have two services that I'm using, right? So yesterday, Google Fi ended up back on the Pixel 5. And, with situations for me getting better, it's not going to be a big problem to have Google Fi anymore, especially when CenturyLink is going to install home Wi-Fi and stuff like that. I don't have to really worry too much. However, I noticed something very strange about it. So when I've been using it yesterday, and I've been using it about the same amount that I was using my Boost mobile line, I noticed something very strange. Data calculation for my Google Fi says that yesterday I used about 2.17 gigabytes of data. Yeah, I did. I did see Sneed's video on the the Boost Mobile and AT&T yesterday. It was a good show, good video, good, and a lot of information there. So I'm glad you guys caught it because it's more beneficial. Nice Taco Bell sending me notifications. But anyways, so you guys can see it says I used like 2.17 gigabytes yesterday, and just a little bit today. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay. So what have I done on my phone with Google Fi? And mind you, I ended up signing up for Google Fi like about 4 in the afternoon. So it really wasn't 24 hours of usage. It was just from like, basically 8 hours from like 4 in the afternoon to midnight, right? It calculates the data. So it says I use about let's chop it down a little bit because it's calculating some of today's usage. So let's say I used about 2.4 gigabytes of data in an 8-hour window yesterday. Well, majority of the stuff really was just YouTube and Twitter is what I was doing on this. And majority of the time I was on my Boost Mobile phone when it comes to media, more YouTube and listening to music and stuff like that. It was all really with the Boost Mobile line. And so I was like, this morning I was kind of baffled. I was like, okay, wait, what's happening here? Like literally what's happening here? Because, Boost Mobile, it's metered, to an extent, right? Like, I pull up my Boost Mobile account. I have 35 gigs of high-speed data before I'm slowed down for the month, right? So far, since, I had Boost Mobile, so I only have like 10 days left. So this has been 20 days. 20 days of usage has been about 18.3393 gigabytes of data used out of 35 gigs. I got 10 days left on the plan. And I've been using this pretty solid. It even had the SIM card in the Pixel 5 at one point. Switched it out yesterday and put it back on the iPhone because in order for me to use a different phone on here like I have to go buy another SIM card, and I just don't want to spend another $10 on another SIM card just to activate another phone on Boost Mobile. So just throw it in the iPhone, leave it in the iPhone, and it's good. But this shows 18.3393 gigabytes of data used, right? And I also have like the visible line, which is in the OnePlus, and I have the Los Mobile line, which is in the Pixel 2 XL. So I have a variety of different phones that I use, depending on what I feel like using or what I feel like grabbing with me when I'm heading out the door to go somewhere. What up, Khalid? I have 4 active phones, 5 actually total, but 4 I normally cycle through. So it's not like that, this is primarily always in my pocket. I could simply put this down and use something else. And that's the way it's been. And so I'm looking at Google Fi. I'm like, how are they calculating data usage? Because data usage on the Boost Mobile, the 18 gigs there, that's downlink and uplink, I believe. So it's anytime that I'm using data and stuff like that, it's calculating it. It's calculating data being used. And that's what it comes up with. And that's in 20 days. That's in 20 days. So and the reason I'm questioning it is because if you think about it, if in an 8-hour window, Google Fi says that I used 2.4, 2.5 gigabytes of data in just an 8-hour window. And that's with me cycling through different phones that I feel like having in my hand at the time that I'm using a smartphone. That would mean that I would only get 10 days of usage at that level. And if I'm only getting 10 days of usage at that level, because Fi has a much lower threshold than Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile has it at 35 gigs, and then you're slowed for the remainder of your bill cycle. And Google Fi has theirs at 22 gigs, and then you're slowed at the remainder of your bill cycle, which is not going to be a problem for me because I can always just switch out. Or I can even go completely eSIM with Fi on this phone and then use, say, like Los Mobile as the physical SIM in it. Like I can always dual SIM this if I wanted to make it work out. However, like I'm saying, but like, how are they calculating this? Like, how did they get those numbers to say 2 gigs of data has been used? How's that? Because I didn't do any app updates. So there was no app updates at all done on the Pixel 5. The Pixel 5's apps were up to date. The last updates that came through was like a day ago. And that's when the Boost Mobile SIM was in it. And it did all those updates. So all the apps on my phone were updated to the correct version they're supposed to be on. That was done through the Boost Mobile SIM that was in the Pixel 5 at one point. So there really wasn't anything that needed to be updated or anything that would require that. I didn't watch a movie on the phone because, I use the OnePlus for mobile hotspot with Visible. That's what's running this live stream right now. And that's also, it's also tethered to my Chromecast Google TV. So I could watch, HBO and Hulu and Disney Plus and Tubi TV and all that stuff, right? So I use the Visible line or the Los Mobile line for a hotspot. Majorly, I do that. So I'm just looking at it from a perspective like what the heck is going on here? Like Google Fi, are you fudging things, or is things being calculated in a different sense? Because of this morning that I thought about this, and I wanted to talk to you guys first about it, because initially what I intend to do from this point when this podcast is over is going to be doing a lot of research, finding if other people had dealt with the same thing, and also trying to see like how they calculate their data. It's very important to know this because, excuse me, on the Reddit page for Google Fi, there's a lot of people who come on there and they're like, look, I can save myself more money if I switch over to Google Fi. I'm on AT&T paying this much a month, and I would rather cut my bill down to this, or they're opting for the Google Fi Flex plan, where it's like, it's $20 for unlimited talk and text, and then it's $10 per gigabyte that you use, with a stop charge point at 6 gigs. So that means $60 for data and $20 for talk. That's an $80 bill every month, right? Even though if you go beyond 6 gigs of data, they stop charging you, but they also slow your speeds down after 15 gigs of usage. So yeah, it is a bit too much to say that I've used 2 gigabytes in one day, mind you. Yeah, so a lot of apps are not running in background, right? I've disabled them. Hold on one second. Anyway, spam caller. So I had an important call. But yeah, so I'm just like, what used up that much data? Like what initially used that much data up? That's the thing that I'm looking at. Because again, I go back, so like something that's also metered, which is Boost Mobile. In 20 days, I've used 18 gigs in 20 days. So I'm using less than a gig with how I do things with the Boost Mobile line, doing it identically the same way with Google Fi in just one day, yet I use 2 gigs. But it doesn't compute to me. So I'm going to continuously watch Google Fi closely to see just what is it doing and how is it calculating my data, because they already have a low threshold point when it comes to it. 22 gigs to a lot of people is not enough. 22 gigs, and people feel like that they'll surpass that. Me personally, I mean, I won't surpass it once the CenturyLink home Wi-Fi is installed, and of course, at the new job, there's Wi-Fi in the building there, and I don't have a problem connecting to Wi-Fi. I'm not one of those people that complains if I have to toggle on a Wi-Fi switch to connect to an open network and use it if I need to. That's just me. Everyone's built differently and thinks and does things differently. So it doesn't, I'm not saying that one size fits all, or like, the things that I do should be exactly the way that you guys do things. I'm just telling you guys from my point, from how I use my phones and what I am accepting of when it comes to using a smartphone. That's me. Everyone else is different to a degree and will do things in a different way. I'm not out here to change minds, but like the 22 gigs has never really been a problem for me when I had Wi-Fi sources and stuff like that. The only time I ever move away from Fi is when I know that the experience is not going to be that great for me, because, in living situations, if like I don't have home Wi-Fi and stuff like that, I know I'm going to eat that data up. And yeah, because like some people will be like, yo, speed test, Google Fi, let's see what the speeds are. And it's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it to show you guys what speeds I'm getting. But also, it's eating up data when I do speed tests. It'll eat up data. And, I ran one speed test yesterday. I kept it to the minimum of one speed test, and that was it. I didn't run multiple speed tests because, that eats up data. So today I'm going to watch it closely. And by tomorrow morning, I'm going to look. And if the start point for today leading in tomorrow initiates that I use 2 gigs again, something is very, very wrong. Now, if it's really scaled back and it's like, okay, maybe that speed test, along with, watching a couple of YouTube videos and stuff, maybe that will play into it. Because I normally don't watch YouTube videos on the go. Like if I'm out and about, I'm not watching YouTube videos on the road. So yeah, I'm going to watch it closely because, now that I have Boost Mobile, and Boost Mobile also does have a threshold. Theirs is 35 gigs. But now that they have that threshold, it's like I can compare it. I can compare something that's metered, right? Metro by T-Mobile really wouldn't fall into that bracket just because Metro by T-Mobile, there's not like I've crossed their threshold and they deprio, so it's deprioritized data after you've gone beyond a threshold with Metro by T-Mobile. And most of the time in places that I'm at, it's not congested with T-Mobile, therefore I don't experience deprioritization on of Metro. And the same thing with Visible. With Visible, when you use a lot of data, they say that you're deprioed. But I mean, only in downtown Phoenix is where I experienced the deprioritization with Visible, just because there's a lot of Verizon users here in the city. And downtown Phoenix is major business, corporate building. So a lot of them having Verizon, they're all eating up Verizon's connection there. That's about the only time that I really experienced deprioritization is on Visible, and that's on downtown Phoenix. Anywhere else, then it's just like, it's anywhere else. Come on, what's going on, man? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm just kind of like, going over my suspicions with Google Fi data collection, or like collection by calculation, how they're calculating data. So this is my start point to that adventure, and I'm going to release a series of videos just kind of like outlining and documenting my experiences with Google Fi and how it's calculating data, comparing it to something such as my Boost Mobile line, which also calculates data, and then seeing, so I'll try to do the same things the same way on both phones. It doesn't matter if one is 5G and one is not, because I'm not going to do anything that's going to I guess take full advantage of 5G connection versus LTE connection. So just little things here like posting on Facebook and looking at pictures on Instagram and tweeting periodically, maybe uploading like 2-minute video clips to Twitter, and I'm gonna compare it and see if there's just this drastic difference. What is, because that was just shocking to me to wake up this morning and grab my phone and look at it and look at the widget that I have on my home screen for Google Fi and see that it's already past 2 gigs and I haven't even had the line for 24 hours. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a lot. That's a lot to calculate. With Boost Mobile, my very first day, when I ended my very first day, it was at 0.899 used in a 24-hour sesh. That wasn't a lot. And really, when you think about it, data being used is not a lot. Like right now, this live stream and such, it doesn't really use a lot of data. Gaming online doesn't really use that much. So there's a lot of things that really don't use a lot of data, right? Facebook doesn't use a lot of data to look at the feed. Same with Twitter. So I'm just like left just pondering like what happened, like what happened. And maybe the setup is what it calculated. Maybe, I don't know, there was something that was done during activation of Google Fi. Maybe it counted that as data usage because I technically used the data, the raw data on it before it completely activated. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you guys grab a Google Fi SIM card and you throw it into a T-Mobile compatible phone without Google Fi activated on that phone, it will connect, and it shows 3G and 1X, right? So there is data that's connecting to your phone, and I think it just gives you just enough data to, or just enough bandwidth to allow you to activate your Google Fi account onto your phone. But I mean, but it wouldn't really need to be over a gig just to set up Google Fi. Something's just way off. That's what I'm saying. Like my head is running in like all kinds of different directions right now, trying to figure out how does Google Fi calculate its data. And yeah, so I'm gonna really look into it further. Really kind of just find out what's wrong with it. Can you check by app? I mean, yes, I did that. So when looking in settings and then seeing like what is using what kind of, but something just doesn't feel right about it. And making sure that background's not running, even opening up developer options and going as far as only limiting 3 processes instead of the standard amount is what I've done. And so yeah, I will get back to everybody on my findings. Maybe by the end of this month, maybe like the last week of October, I'll do like another live stream and tell you guys my findings. Please give me that much time to really kind of research and just run as much tests as possible. And I want to do it over a span of time, just so that I'm not going to base it off just like 1 or 2 tests and be like, oh, okay, I found the answer. This is why it's doing it. But I want to test it over some time. And so we'll get back to that on that. Because it's not going to be a good move for Google and Google Fi. It's really not. Other than that, while I'm switching tracks here to go to the next thing, how is your guys' how's your guys' hump day so far? How's your Wednesday? Because we are going to switch tracks here, and I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on Android 12. And just tell you guys what I think about it. I used 18 gigs last month, and the apps I use the most that I know of sure use 15.6, so it kind of makes sense in my case. Yeah, I don't know. I think the way that your guys' cellular providers work, because I don't know if it. I believe you were the one who told me about this coffee, but in your country, your cellular providers, they don't do unlimited plans. You will get, I think, like an allotted amount of data. However, certain things are exempt from being calculated, I think, right? So like you'll get like maybe like a plan that's like 20 gigs of data per month, but like Facebook doesn't count as data used, and some other local social app is not counted towards data used. I believe that's how it goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there's some places in Europe that do that. Their wireless plans is like you get 5,000 texts and 5,000 talk minutes and 15 gigabytes of data, but Facebook is exempt. So if you use Facebook, you can use that on it unlimitedly. It's not counted towards your data pool. But like if you were to use something else like Instagram, say Instagram, even though it's Facebook owned, like that would count against your data pool, something like that. And I think that's actually pretty cool because if it's like a general consensus of what people use the most, and that particular thing is exempt from being calculated, I wouldn't mind having a data pool that ultimately leads me to having a price plan per month lower than what we're paying right now. Yeah, there's no unlimited though. I have a 6-month unlimited promo, but regularly I have 5 gigs plus 2 apps of choice with additional 10 gigs for each. Oh, okay, yeah, see, something like that. And you pay how much a month and convert that to US dollars. But I mean, some people could make it work. Another person who watches my YouTube live streams and my YouTube videos, his name is Mark. When I was talking in the last couple of previous live streams, and I made mention about the 35 gigabyte cap, from his perspective, his standpoint, his idea is that 35 gigs is enough for anybody. That most people don't even use more than 30 gigs, and I see where he's coming from, because on a whole basis, right, like a consensus of a lot of people who really don't go beyond 30 gigs, because they do have home Wi-Fi, and even though they scream and chant like, I don't use Wi-Fi, but they got Wi-Fi at home and they've been using it, like we never really know. Some people just want to hear like everything is completely unlimited and free, but well, completely unlimited, and their mind processes that thinking that fully unlimited means free, and it doesn't mean free at all whatsoever. So you are in fact paying for it. But I mean, I don't know. That's just me. All right. So Android 12, and my final thoughts on it. Android 12. There's a lot of good. There's some bad. There are some bad. Some of the bad things are subjective. It's just based upon the things that you like, what you feel looks good, and what doesn't look good. So we're gonna throw that to the side. I'm not worried about material user interface, because some people like it and some people don't. I'm not here to kind of talk about that. I'm not here to, yeah. I have used 136 gigabytes in 18 days, and the month ain't over yet. Yeah, I mean, people use their phones differently, but a lot of people really don't go beyond 30 gigs. A lot of people who have family plans and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's good to have the fully unlimited data. It's good for them to, be able to use that amount if they're able to. By the way, you use that much data and no deprio at all. Like, you're not deprioritized. But most people don't. Most people have home Wi-Fi and they use home Wi-Fi. And I've always said this: your mobile hotspot on your phone was never meant to be a home Wi-Fi replacement. While, like I can say, like with Los Mobile and using the hotspot on that, I've been able to run like my smart TVs and my other IoTs on it. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for CenturyLink to send out a technician to come out and install the internet, that doesn't mean that I can just completely survive on using Los Mobile hotspot to just run everything. Like everything has limitations, and those limitations can be reached with an aggressive amount of usage, is what I'm trying to say. And even then, like, cellular providers are going to figure out when you are aggressively using your hotspot like that, and they could just cancel your account or cancel your line, because even they are not really trying. Like, when you think about it right now, Verizon and T-Mobile are the only two that's like providing home internet service, and they're giving you like a router that connects to their network that provides Wi-Fi for your home. That just recently started, but that's only T-Mobile and T-Mobile and Verizon doing that for right now. Don't know if AT&T plans to jump into that market, but still, in general, your mobile phone hotspot was never intended to be your home Wi-Fi. So that's the point that I'm making. But that's crazy. You use 136 gigabytes of data. What are you doing? What are you doing, and why are you doing it? That's the big question. Like, what are you doing that has you use 136 gigs of data? And quite frankly, I'll tell you, you're not a person that is going to be happy on Google Fi. You would totally rip your hair out in aggravation. So don't ever join Fi, because the Fi won't give you that amount. Yeah, Fi would not give you that amount. You'd probably get like 7.331% of that, and then you're slowed down. All right, anyways, so Android 12 has gotten this big refresh, this big change, this doing things a bit on the Google quirkiness type thing, right? So the widgets have changed out. They redesigned the widgets for Google Apps to look funny but kind of cool in a way, right? The Material You user interface is supposed to quickly adapt to whatever wallpaper you set, and basically set the tone for not just the icons, the wallpaper, the quick settings, color configurations, but this also is a trend that's going to cycle through a lot of Google apps, right? Like Android messages. Like I showed you guys, excuse me, because my wallpaper is like a maroon color with a bit of orange and yellow and white. So, right, we have the quick settings. In dark mode, it's going to be lighter. So these quick setting little tabs, they're like a light pink color. However, if I was to switch from dark mode to light mode, they would turn maroon. So they're a darker color in light mode. They are lighter in dark mode. Hey, Ladies Red Tech Review, what's going on? She's in here. So anyways, right, like it's, if I was to, set the icons to be themed, it would, be dark with like a little bit of like a yellowish tint to it, just because the material U. But here's where things kind of get very interesting. So, when I'm texting my daughter who has an iPhone, it shows a light pink bubble for my messages, which indicates that that's a regular text message, not RCS. However, my wife has the Pixel 4a, and so we have RCS messaging, so you can see my chat bubbles with her is a darker maroon color. So the theming goes into Android messages. It goes into Gmail as well. Gmail, there's like a light kind of dark maroonish color to like the compose button, and the bottom bar down here has like a bit of like a maroonish dark tint. So even Gmail is affected by it, right? So a lot of Google apps, like this is going to spider into all of that. I'm totally digging Android 12, super terrific battery life. Yes, that's another thing too. With Android 12, and what it's actually done is it's improved battery life, especially on devices such as the Pixel 4, the Pixel 3, which had smaller batteries. Right, the Pixel 4, I believe, has a 2800 milliamp hour battery. The Pixel 3 has a 2915 milliamp battery, and it has improved battery and dose. Some people have reported having poor battery with their Pixel 3. I haven't, but I mean, the way that I charge my devices, I don't do overnight charges a lot, so I don't like plug it in and go to sleep and let it charge all the way up. And the lowest that I would let my battery die down to is about 31%, and then I will top it off on the charger, and I would top it off up to like 85 to 90%. I would not top it off 100 to 100%, just because I mean that's a charge cycle on the battery, and so the degradation of the battery speeds up when you do full cycle charges. You can extend the battery by just not letting it charge up completely to 100% and not letting it completely kill off to 0. Sometimes you do have to do what I call a battery refresh, and that's let it completely die and then let it charge 100% back up and then boot the phone back on. But that's like, I would do that like, every 90 days or something like that. That's just me. And maybe it's a placebo thing and I could be wrong, or, it actually does what it's supposed to do, which is extend the life of the battery. My Pixel 5a goes 36 hours with heavy usage. Yeah, the Pixel 5a's got a very solid battery. The fact that the display itself, what they chose to use as a display, helps, along with the size of the battery. And stock Android, that is just not it's not going to consume a lot of battery. So that's cool. The Pixel 5a is tremendous with battery life. A lot of people that's like the first thing that comes to mind to everybody with the Pixel 5a's. Battery is insane. Yeah, it is. The A series has always been that. Since the very first one. The Pixel 3a had a bigger battery than a Pixel 3, and it had a longer cycle usage than the Pixel 3. And that was one of the things that left people scratching their heads, like, why does the 3a have better battery than its big brother, the 3? You can go figure. But yeah, so you have Material U. That's a very nice thing. It's actually sped up Android. It really has. If anyone hasn't really noticed that, it really has. If you were to compare it to previous iterations of Android, and just like, when using it, how it felt to you. And we're not talking about the refresh rate of the screen. Like, eliminate the 120 hertz refresh or the 90 hertz refresh and go back down to stock 60 hertz refresh rate, and then really look at Android 12 and look at Android 11, look at Android 10 and Android 9. You'll really see that Android 12 it's really been much more snappier. It's sped up. It's a lot faster. Maneuvering through the software is a lot faster. And that's always a good thing, right? Yeah, there is a little bit of stutter. I will admit that. And I mostly find that with my Pixel 4, especially with the Face Unlock. The Face Unlock has gotten slower than what it was on Android 11, but that's because I think there's a bug that's regarding the always-on display and face recognition unlock. So yeah, I'm just like, okay, Google needs to work on that, because the Pixel 4, its Face Unlock was fast. I mean, the reason why it looked a lot faster than Face ID is because with Face ID, you have to look at the screen. And once you see that the padlock shows an unlocked icon, then you swipe up to get into the phone. Whereas on the Pixel 4, when you pick it up, it's already firing up the camera to recognize your face. And once you look at it, boom, as fast as it unlocks on the iPhone for me. So I'll lock it down, and then I'll just like kind of like look at it, see if, boom, it unlocked. The Pixel 4, what makes it faster is that once that unlock happens, it also opens into the main screen. Whereas on the iPhone, it does not. You still have to swipe up after it recognizes your face. But the Pixel 4 has slowed down in Face Unlock. Sometimes it won't even initiate. Like because usually with the Pixel 4, you can like just tap the screen and wake it up just like that. But with the Pixel 4, for some reason, it's not recognizing touch sometimes, and that kind of fumbles the whole tap to wake your screen. More people have come. Gotta run. Great to see you live. All right, take it easy. I'm glad you popped in and hung out with us for a little bit. Anyways, so yeah, that's probably some of the negative stuff that I've experienced is that there is an issue with touch, and this affects a certain amount of phones. Mostly I found it with my Pixel 4. I haven't found touch issues with my Pixel 5 or with the Pixel 3 or with the Pixel 3a or with the Pixel 4a. It's just been the 4. The Pixel 4 has experienced that. So those are like, that's a given. Now, of course, not everyone's going to like the way that it looks. The way I know B-Tech Reviews doesn't like the quick settings from the notification shade drop down and stuff like that. I know he doesn't like that, the way that it looks. And he was hoping that they were going to change it. But I mean, one thing that I would tell people is like when Android beta rolls out, the way that they have things configured, like as far as like the shape of the quick setting toggles and stuff like that, if you see that on beta, it's not going to change to a dramatically different shape. Or they're not going to completely rewrite everything to look completely different. Once it hits beta, you're pretty much seeing the future of it. Like that's what it's going to be. Like the volume bar, when the very first Android 12 beta 1 rolled out, the volume bar was really thick. So thick that it was about as thick as your finger on your display. And the only major change they did to that with Android 12 beta 2 was they made that bar skinnier. That's it. But it was still kind of thick. And so when we looked at it, we're like, okay, it's thick, but it's not gigantically thick like you're holding a kindergartner's jumbo pencil. And so with that being said, when you see things in Android beta, the idea of the design is pretty much there. They can tweak it just a little bit. But they're not going to drastically change it and turn like those quick setting toggles that look like like puffy pills. They're not going to switch it up and turn it into triangles or reconfigure it to be running parallel rather than vertical. If I got that right, I don't know. I'm like, today is a daze and it's foggy in my brain. So, anyways, me personally, if I was to rank Android 12, it's gonna get 8 out of 10. There are some things that I feel they're just not very intuitive, or why did they do things like? First of all, I'm glad they fixed the whole Wi-Fi issue. My biggest thing that I was really finding weird was like when you go into quick settings and then you tap internet, which is basically about your data. You get this pop-up window at the bottom. Down here, the second toggle switch is Wi-Fi. And in the very first beta release of Android 12, that wasn't there at all. So if you wanted to engage your Wi-Fi, first of all, you didn't have a quick setting here to toggle on Wi-Fi and toggle it off. You had to get all of it was wrapped up into internet. But then you had to go into the full settings of your phone. And when you went into full settings of your phone, you had to go into network and internet. And then when you did that, then you had to go tap internet. And then it was here too, like you see how it is right now, like Wi-Fi. But there would be like a list of different things before you would get to Wi-Fi, and then you had to toggle it on that way. And I'm glad that they implemented it into the quick settings, into that bottom pop-up shade for internet. Like, I get it. They're trying to consolidate space and not try to have so many toggles in the quick settings by just grouping them all together and calling it internet. And that basically being your mobile data connection, and then your Wi-Fi connection. I get, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. But when it didn't have the Wi-Fi toggle switch in the bottom menu of the quick setting for internet, that's where I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Excuse me. That doesn't make sense at all. So I'm glad that they did those changes. So there are certain things I was just like really kind of like, okay, how is this going to be intuitive? How's this going to, alleviate mass steps? Because that's the thing about smartphones, is that they don't want a lot of steps to get something done. They just want to get it done. So if it's faster to do it a certain way and cut so many steps, the better it is. So, just my final thoughts on Android 12. I mean, it's a nice step. I think it's a long-awaited refresh, because we've been seeing the same boring Android. To me personally, I felt like that Android was really becoming iOS, and I'm not trying to throw shade or make anyone feel inferior with their iPhone or anything like that. But iPhones don't really mess with the user interface at all. This is what you see is what you get, and it will always be this and nothing else. It will always be this until Apple decides to change it up and say, hey, now we're going to let you actually customize your icons on your display and whatever. That would be cool. But other than that, what you see is what you get with iOS. And I felt like that was starting to become present in Android. It was like every new iteration of Android going up was like, we're maintaining the Material user interface. So not Material U, but just Material user interface. And it was just like, oh, okay, this was in KitKat, and they just kind of tweaked the icons a little bit, but still feels like KitKat and Lollipop, and still feels like KitKat and Marshmallow, and feels like KitKat and Nougat, and feels like KitKat and Oreo. But now they did it where you have gestures. It's slightly gesture based in Android 9 Pie, and it's like, okay, but still feels like KitKat. And then Android 10 came along, and it's like, oh, full integration of gestures and stuff like that, but still feels like KitKat, the look of it, and the same with Android 11. So Android 12 is a very, very, very much needed, OS refresh, and I appreciate Google for doing that. So going forward, do I think that they're going to do another drastic refresh? I probably predict Android 15 may have a refresh. I think this will be it for this iteration, which is Android 12, and then 13 and 14 will be a play on Material U user interface. That's just my thoughts on that. I just think that's it, and it's not going to go anywhere else from there. But other than that, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. That's all I gotta say. It's okay. And it's gonna be funny to see like other different OEMs their iteration on Android 12 and the Material U user interface, and see what they come up with for One UI or for whatever other what was it, Color OS 12, and what you can do there, whatever. I mean, this would be weird, weird but fun to see what they do, what their interpretations of Android 12 are going to be. And finally, before I go, I'm going to talk to you guys. So there's been a little bit of information that's shared with me, and if this information is correct, then I'm kind of worried for the state of the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. So initially, information was passed down that pretty much had like an idea of what the pricing was going to be for both phones. Obviously, I can't throw that out there, but all I can say is this: when it comes to that, is that if that is true, then something has to be with the Pixel 6 Pro that sets it at that price above the Pixel 6. There is a slight drastic difference in pricing between the 6 and the 6 Pro. If this is true, come the 19th, a lot of people are going to be shocked. But there better be things set in place for the 6 Pro to be that much more than the Pixel 6. if that's what they intend to do. Now, of course, nothing is set in stone until the Google event happens and they say Pixel 6 is going for starting at this price, and then the Pixel 6 Pro will be going for this price. Once they say that at the Made by Google event, then it's solid and it's locked in. But for passed around information, rumored, some internal sources, putting this stuff out there ahead of the launch, hearing about it just has me really thinking, what is the advantages that the 6 Pro going to have over the 6? If it's just size, display size, and battery size, that's not enough, in my opinion. From what I know, it's not enough. There has to be more. And yes, we know that the Pixel 6 has 2 camera sensors, and the Pixel 6 Pro is going to have 3 camera sensors. To me, that's still not enough for that difference. If it's true that that's the pricing that both are going to be at. Just battery size and additional camera sensors, not enough for the difference between. There has to be more. There just has to be more. Hey, Big John Tech Reviews, what's up, man? How's it going? There needs to be more. If the pricing that was whispered in my ear is true, there needs to be more of a difference between the 6 Pro and the 6. If true, I am thoroughly impressed with what is assumed that the Pixel 6 is going to be priced at. I'm actually impressed. But I don't know. I think that this is that one thing that people that like to complain about Pixels, this is that one thing that I feel like that they're going to have a field day with. Like, they're going to go in and get to rip the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro a new one because of it. And I would really love to say things, but like, if saying things puts that person in jeopardy, there's no way I'm going to say anything about it. Except for that. That's just my thoughts on it. Like, why? Yo, Sneed, what's up, man? It's funny that they still don't sell Pixels here at all. Yeah, man, I really wish that they would. I really wish that it's weird how things are like, things are US based. Some things are, like, for instance, there's phones from Xiaomi that's sold in Europe that's not sold here. So I mean, I don't know. These region locks are just as bad as region locks in Pokemon. Can't wait to see the Pixel 6. That's what I'm going for. Right. So November 1st, I start my new job. I'm very happy for that. So things might be like a little, changed up on here and stuff like that. And however, yeah, I'm definitely going to go for the Pixel 6 from stuff that just flowed my way. And to a lot of people who are feeding me information about the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, man, I really appreciate everybody that's doing it. I'm not gonna say names, you know what I mean, but there are some great people that just they know that I generally like Google Pixel phones, and so they feed me so much information about it, and it just amplifies my hypeness for it like times 100. Even if it sounds like bad news, it still gets me hyped, just because I'm just like, I want to get to that launch event, and I want to see the phone in the person's hand and see a live demo of them doing the certain things that they're going to do on it. I know October 28th is really what, if I had the money for it, if I have it by then I can order it and have it shipped to me. Of course, I'm kind of scared if they use FedEx. So I don't know. Well, apparently there's more ways than one to get a Pixel 6, but that's the one I'm going to go for. And if they don't have my greenish color one, then I'll go with like the reddish light pink version of it. Or black, or like the different shades of black, whatever one. I'm not really, beggars can't be choosers, and you know what I mean. So whatever they have, I'll take it. It's no big deal. But the Pro is the one that I'm more concerned about. I'm more worried about, like, because if it doesn't have enough, and in it to justify the differences, and I know this sucks for me to have to say it this way because, I just don't want to put anyone in jeopardy. Crutches. But if there's not enough in the 6 Pro to justify it at that and what it's going to be, then I don't know, that could be the one thing, because like I think that's what I'm looking at too. like Google has a tendency, like, they start to build hype behind something that they're really, really, backing, and then they end up shooting themselves in the foot with something that just, ruins it for them. Like the Pixel 4 had a similar hype as the Pixel 6 being released. The Pixel 4 had a similar hype. Not as hype, but similar. People were hyped for the Pixel 4 and 4 XL. It was when it launched, first was the price. Everyone complained about the price. And I was just like, it's priced the same as the Pixel 3 and 3 XL launch. But ultimately it was the price for the Pixel 4 and the battery size for the Pixel 4. That's what ultimately did it. That's what ultimately did it for the Pixel 4 to just, get shot in the foot. Like a lot of other manufacturers were putting like 3,500 milliamp hour batteries in their phones and stuff like that. Why would Google go with a 2,800 milliamp hour battery? Those are some of the things that people were mad about. And so, I'm afraid that it might be a slight repeat in some sort of way. Hopefully not. Hopefully this will be like, what I've been wanting for the longest time, which is a solid Google Pixel launch without any real genuine reason to complain about it. I know that the people who hate Pixels or don't like Pixels or are annoyed because they ride for a particular brand, I know they're going to come out of the woodwork and complain, and I'm not concerned about that. To me, that's white noise in the background. That's stuff that you catch spirits through, and I ain't worried about. I ain't ghost hunting. I ain't worried about ghosts, nothing like that. So I don't pay attention to that kind of crap. But ones that have a genuine thing, like they have a genuine complaint. I mean, those I'll listen to, because that's one of the things too. I mean, and I guess in a way, when I buy my Pixel 6, I feel a whole lot better, just because I won't I feel, and then I'm not dissing any Team Pixel members, but I just feel like that when you are involved in a group such as Team Pixel, it feels like you're obligated to do specific things in order to remain in their good graces to get next year's stuff, right? And while I like Google Pixel phones, I will call them out on the things that they do. I don't have a problem doing that, because I guess my definition of being a fanboy is like liking a product because it identifies with the things that you want within the product. But if they do something that's not good or goes against what you firmly believe, it should be, you call them out for it. Like you generally have a responsibility to say it, especially when you're a content creator and you talk about tech on YouTube. You have the biggest responsibility is not the companies, it's the people who watch. And if you allow yourself to change your opinions because you want to stay within an exclusive group to continue the benefits from that, then you're pretty much like selling your soul to the devil, and all your integrity is gone. So then what is the point for anyone to actually listen to you, right? If I was doing it and then people caught me blowing smoke up their rear end, who is going to even subscribe to me? Who is going to even listen to the things I have to say if they feel like everything that's spewing out of my mouth is bullcrap? Nobody. I maintain a general responsibility to keep it 100 with everybody that watches my live streams or watches my videos. If I feel like there is a certain workaround to something, that is not as an excuse for something that's failing. It's to help you work around it until there is a fix for it. But I never take something that is, an issue and sweep it under the rug and say that you shouldn't pay attention to that. Don't worry about, the 4K 60 on the 5A overheating when you take video. Like, of course, that's an issue. There's a workaround for it, and that's just don't record in 4K 60. Especially, like, why would you record a steak dinner that you just got ordered and placed on your table in 4K 60? What's the point? No one really goes and masturbates to a steak being plated on their table in front of them out of pure joy. The only time I really feel like, that 4K 60 comes in hand is for like the really breathtaking moments. But not everybody really experiences that. Like, no one's going to shoot them taking out the garbage in 4K 60. But you would in a murder scene. I just probably demonetized myself right there. Oh, wow. But yeah, you have an obligation to people to be, forthcoming, honest. I feel like just with these groups, it just feels like it's gonna handcuff me. And I get it, and hey, everyone that was like on social media, pushing hard to try to get Team Pixel to notice me. Like, I really 100% appreciate every one of y'all. I appreciate every one of y'all that was in support of that. You know, it was awesome. But believe you me, I'm not losing sleep over it because I'm more worried about being a part of that group and feeling pressure that I have to agree with every other Team Pixel member when they go and they say, it's a great phone. It could do this. The cameras could do that. And they get all excited. Like, I want to be excited for that in Pixels, but in a genuine way. Not in a way that seems fake. That's just all I'm saying about that. Anyways, guys, gals, people, thanks for coming in and hanging out with me live. I will follow up the Google Fi data calculation thing by the end of the month and tell you guys my findings on that and see if there's any foul play there by Google Fi. Because it just caught me off guard to see how they calculated my data usage in the span of 8 hours. But that's just weird. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go. Happy hump day to everybody. Hopefully your Wednesday's starting off great. And middle of the week, so we're getting close to the weekend. It's going to be awesome. I'll see you guys back. I'm probably going to drop a couple of videos later today. I didn't do any yesterday. Just yesterday was so hectic for me. But I'll try to get some videos out on some things that I wanted to make videos on. And those will be going out little by little. So y'all take it easy. Be cool. Be safe. I love you guys very much. Much blessings to your household, your families, and yourself. And, yeah, y'all be cool. Law.